Support for the Leadoff on WGLT and WGLT.org comes from the Central Illinois Regional Airport, where travelers are one stop away from world destinations. Connections on Delta Airlines to Atlanta are available daily. Close, convenient, CIRA. More at CIRA.com.
Hundreds of millions of dollars in improvements are coming to Bloomington-Normal's sewage treatment system. It's one of the things you need to know to start your day for Thursday, May 23rd. I'm Ryan Denham, and this is WGLT's The Leadoff. Now let's lead off with those unusual dust storms that caused driving problems across central Illinois this week. Illinois State Police say that 6 people were injured Tuesday in Logan County, just southwest of Bloomington-Normal. 9 cars had to be towed away from 4 separate crashes, one involving a fuel tanker. Another person was injured in a separate crash in Livingston County. State police say none of those injuries were life-threatening. Meteorologist Andrew Pritchard says he was surprised by the severity of the storm because it has not been a particularly dry season.
It's been dry for, 24, 36 hours, very hot and sunny, and that's dried out the top layer of the soil across central Illinois. Meanwhile, the farmers have been doing their spring duties and getting out there and tilling, and so the soil is very loose.
Indeed, about 2/3 of corn is planted across Illinois. 58% of soybeans are in the ground, not far off from the 5-year average. Tuesday's dust storms prompted state police to close some interstate highways, including I-55 and I-74 in McLean and DeWitt counties. 1 year ago, a car pileup killed 8 people during a dust storm on I-55 near Springfield. Here's some other stories we're following in the WGLT newsroom. Illinois lawmakers have passed some updates to the state's child labor laws. Kids under 16 will not be able to work more than 18 hours a week during the school year or 40 hours a week during breaks. The Woodford County Board passed a resolution declaring the county a non-sanctuary for migrants in the country illegally. It joins 12 other mostly conservative counties in Illinois that have passed similar or nearly identical resolutions. Abigail Mann from Normal will be a contestant on Jeopardy on Tuesday. Mann is a digital scholarship librarian at Illinois Wesleyan University. And a female snow leopard who is part of a brother-sister duo that didn't get along well is being moved out of Bloomington's Miller Park Zoo to a sanctuary in Nevada. One snow leopard named Sage will remain here. You can find more on these stories at WGLT.org. Turning dark, chunky water clear sounds unappealing, but it's important. You may have noticed your sewer use fees went up in Bloomington-Normal this year. They rose 15%. Bloomington-Normal Water Reclamation District Director Tim Irvin says that's about $2 per month for the average homeowner, and there'll be several more years of double-digit increases. Over the next several decades, those fees will pay for $300 million in improvements to the sewage treatment system in the Twin Cities. WGLT's Charlie Schlenker reports on what that money will buy.
This is a story about poopy water and what we humans in Bloomington-Normal have to do with it to avoid sickening people downstream. Josh Stevens is the operations superintendent of the Bloomington-Normal Water Reclamation District.
Sugar Creek starts in Bloomington, and then it flows down to the Salt Creek, and then from the Salt Creek it hits Sangamon River, and then it discharges in the Illinois River at Beardstown, and then from there heads down to the Mississippi and then to the Gulf.
The district operates 2 wastewater treatment plants, one in West Bloomington that is 100 years old. Another south of the Twin Cities near Randolph also needs a big overhaul to meet federal requirements to reduce phosphorus levels. Stevens says treating sewage is a complicated process.
We do preliminary treatment to get out the heavy grit. Then we do use the process of settling out solids, and then we do a biological process to treat the nutrients we're required to remove based on our National Pollution Discharge Elimination System permit.
So let's take a tour and start with where the sewage comes into the main plant on West Oakland Avenue in Bloomington. The plant has 2 separate treatment systems, one that looks a lot like it did a century ago. The second one is newer but still needs updates. District Engineer Sean Maurer says both start with what's called headworks.
There's some strong odors in here for the headworks, right? So we're screening off a lot of solids and things. So on our nice warm July day, yeah, it gets a little right.
There are 2 huge rotating drums in this building with metal screens.
As a pair, it can put through 35 million gallons of water a day.
The grit catches the big stuff?
Yeah, the big stuff. So you can see these plates, you can just kind of peek through there. Anything bigger than 1/4 of an inch will get caught on these screens and brought up, and then it goes up this chute here, and then it goes through a small washing and dewatering process here, and then it goes to the dumpster.
From there, the water goes to settling tanks to remove solids. Right now, they have an area grit chamber to do that. That will be upgraded to a vortex solution. Grit tanks settle. A vortex spins the water and forces the grit to the side. Right now, they have to remove the grit with a clamshell bucket. Josh Stevens says that's labor-intensive. They also won't have to aerate the settling tank anymore.
The blowers that put the bubbles into the existing aerated grit tanks are very inefficient from an energy standpoint, so the vortex grit removal doesn't require air, so that cost goes away for us.
After the grit tanks, the water goes to the pump station. It is in a distinguished-looking tile-roofed building designed by the famous Bloomington-Normal architect Arthur Pillsbury. It has great lines. Inside, though, it's loud. Sean Maurer says it houses the main inflow pumps for Plant 1, the newer treatment system.
So this is lifting the water up to our clarifiers up along Oakland Avenue there. Once it gets up to that point, it's gravity flow the whole rest of the way until we get through the clarification. Then it goes under another pumping back towards the tertiary treatment and the UV units on the other side of the plant. This whole building and these pumps, pretty much original design of the plant.
Is anything going to change in here?
These pumps will go away and be replaced with a new submersible lift station because it'll be more energy efficient in the long run.
In fact, energy efficiency is a theme for many of the projects the Water Reclamation District is doing. Director Tim Irvin says it's their second highest expense behind payroll, $1.5 million.
We're hoping to go to more of a zero electric use facilities, so we're going to be using solar, low energy projects, different green infrastructure to provide the bulk of the power to the facility.
Maurer says next up is the distribution building, which splits into the two treatment process streams. The water looks like typical sewage, a light gray color. There's a strong odor, an ammonia sting in the nose.
What are we seeing? All right, so water is coming into this building through this channel, flowing over these weirs into each tank. So right now this tank is filling and that tank is draining, and this will automatically flip-flop for us.
The older museum quality treatment process sends the water to a trickle filter. It's kind of pretty. Operations Superintendent Josh Stevens says a series of sprinklers sprays an array of umbrella-shaped patterns over a deep bed of rocks.
We're going to have to basically put in a whole new type of process on that side of the plant, specifically for the biological phosphorus removal, which would include aeration tanks.
The rebuild will demolish the trickle filter. It won't be as pretty. New clarifiers will go there, and the space in between the new clarifiers and the existing primary clarifiers will be filled with aeration basins. For now, the sprays go on and off every so often.
The higher the flows, the shorter the frequency in between, but the idea is to allow a dose or a rest cycle so the water can trickle through and then air has a chance to flow up through the media. Underneath there are under drains where the water that's flowing over this media is collected and then conveyed over to the pump station for our nitrifying biotowers.
The biotowers are two cylindrical buildings about 30 feet in the air. They have millions of species of bacteria that go nom 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 on unwanted nutrients. The water drains down and goes into clarifiers, then to another pump house, which lifts the water to a sand filter, which takes even more contaminants out of the water. Josh Stevens says all told, the treatment plant has about 4 different stages that require pumping.
One of the things with the upgrades that we're looking to is setting the plant up where we only have to pump it once and then we can flow by gravity and thus eliminate multiple pump stations. That's less maintenance. You have fewer pumps to maintain, and then it's fewer energy that we're expending on it.
The water goes from the sand filter to a clarifier. There's more bubbly air percolating up from the bottom. Okay, on with the tour.
We're going to show you where we farm the bugs. Here's our aeration tanks are up here.
Another treatment process the district uses is called activated sludge, where millions of bacteria and other microbes are suspended in the wastewater under aeration and used to clean the water. And the last stage of all that ends this strange, eventful watery journey does what's called polishing.
This is our UV ultraviolet disinfection unit right here. It's the kind of the last pass. Water goes past this, gets disinfected, and it goes out to the creek.
Some other treatment districts still use chlorine, though that is becoming rare. There is extra holding time for that method of final treatment, and if there's a mistake, it can lead to fish kills. There are big signs in the UV building that say, "Don't look at the bulbs."
When the front ones are on, you can sometimes see fish up here on the back end of it.
Really?
Yeah, carp and other fish out of the creek will make their way up here when the creek is up high. They'll kind of get into the UV channel, so kind of a nice sign, the water's good if the fish are there, right?
Right now, there are 2 ultraviolet facilities. John Maurer says the plant upgrade will consolidate those to 1. All told, it takes 6 or 11 hours for sewer water to make it from the start to the finish and back into the creek, depending whether it goes through the treatment that belongs in a museum or the more modern method. While the water released from the treatment plant isn't potable, District Director Tim Irvin says it is healthy enough to increase species diversity in the creek and on the banks downstream. And being able to do it cheaper, better, and to federal standards, Irvin says, will be worth the money. I'm Charlie Schlenker.
There's much more to this story by WGLT's Charlie Schlenker. You can read or listen to the rest of it at WGLT.org. Before I let you go, the Bloomington Parks and Rec Dolphins swim team is back from hiatus and is now recruiting swimmers. An informational meeting is tonight at 6 at the new O'Neill Aquatic Center. That's it for today. I'm Ryan Denham. You can subscribe to the Leadoff on the NPR app or wherever you get your podcasts.